Welcome back to Direction Within. If you've ever felt like a fraud, like you don't belong even when you're doing well, you're not alone. Today, we're talking about imposter syndrome, and more importantly, how to disarm it by embracing vulnerability and authenticity. Subscribe now and let's grow from the inside out. Imposter syndrome is the persistent belief that you're not as capable as others think, and that at any moment, you'll be found out. It whispers things like, "They're going to realize I don't belong here. I just got lucky. I'm not good enough to be doing this." It affects high achievers, creatives, students, leaders, even those at the top of their game. Why? Because it's not about ability, it's about identity. We fear being exposed because we tie our worth to perfection. We believe we must perform flawlessly to deserve space. But that's the trap. When you strive to appear perfect, you disconnect from your real self, and that disconnect breeds self-doubt. So what's the antidote? It begins with this truth. You don't overcome imposter syndrome by becoming more perfect. You overcome it by becoming more real. We've been taught to hide our fears, to fake confidence, to protect our image, but vulnerability flips that script. Brené Brown said it best. Vulnerability is the birthplace of connection, creativity, and courage. When we allow ourselves to be seen, fears, flaws, and all, we stop performing and start belonging. Here's the twist. The more you pretend, the more alone you feel. But the more real you are, the more connected you become. Authenticity tells your brain, I am safe to be myself, and that safety dissolves the need for imposter thoughts. Vulnerability becomes your shield, not your shame. So next time you're tempted to say, I've got it all together, try instead, I'm figuring it out like everyone else. This isn't about oversharing, it's about unmasking. Let's talk about what actually causes imposter syndrome to spiral and how to break that cycle. At the core of imposter syndrome is shame, the belief that we are not enough. Here's how the loop works. You feel unsure. You hide it to protect your image. That hiding makes you feel fake. Feeling fake feeds your shame. Shame triggers more imposter thoughts. It's a vicious cycle, and it thrives in silence. To break it, you need two tools, naming and normalizing. Naming. When you feel like a fraud, say it. This is imposter syndrome. Labeling it takes away its power. Normalizing. Understand that almost everyone feels this way at some point. Even your role models. Talk to trusted peers. You'll be surprised how many are secretly battling the same doubts. The shame loop breaks when you stop struggling silently and start speaking openly. One of the biggest traps of imposter syndrome is the need for constant approval. You work hard, but still feel like you haven't earned your place until someone else says you have. This makes you a prisoner to praise. So here's the mindset shift. What if you believed your worth wasn't tied to output, but to existence? You are already enough, period. Start affirming your wins, even the small ones. I showed up today. I handled that tough moment well. I'm learning, and that's progress. Keep a confidence journal. At the end of each day, write down one thing you did well, one thing you're proud of, one fear you faced. This practice rewires your brain to look for evidence of your strength, not just your flaws. Over time, your self-trust grows louder than your self-doubt. Let's now look at how authenticity becomes your anchor in everyday life, and why fitting in is overrated. Authenticity means living in alignment with your values, not in performance for others. It means saying no when you mean no. I don't know without fear. This is who I am without apology. When you live authentically, you attract people who resonate with the real you. You repel the pressure to be someone else. And most importantly, you give yourself the freedom to evolve. Imposter syndrome thrives when we compare ourselves to a false version of success. But when you own your journey, the messy, real, honest path, you start walking with peace. Let your truth guide your choices, even when it's uncomfortable. Here's the truth. Imposter syndrome doesn't fully vanish, but its voice grows quieter when you live in your truth. Here's how to make this a lifestyle. Practice micro bravery daily. Speak up when it feels scary. Try something new without perfect prep. Celebrate imperfect progress. Build a circle of realness. Surround yourself with people who value growth over image. People who support your becoming, not just your accomplishments. Repeat the core mantra. I'm not a fraud, I'm a work in progress. I don't need to be perfect to be powerful. Reflect often. Ask yourself weekly, where was I honest? Where did I hide? Where can I be more real next time? You don't have to fight imposter syndrome alone. You just have to stop hiding from your own brilliance. If this message lit a spark in you, subscribe to Direction Within, share it with someone who needs it, and remember, your vulnerability is not a weakness. It's the doorway to your power.